Okay, beautiful. Welcome everybody, guys. I really enjoy these live streams. Obviously, we just need to make sure that everything is running well. So just a quick feedback on your side, guys. In the chat, let me know, first and foremost, can you hear me? Can you see me? And second of all, where in the world are you from? I absolutely love these live streams. We're going to do something a little bit different this afternoon. This is a special edition. So we're going to have a bit more time together to really go through your requests one by one and really go through the markets that you guys are asking about. I see a lot of questions. I see a lot of queries about, can we jump into this? Can we jump into that? And really based on what you guys are seeing and based on what you guys are asking for is essentially the type of things we'll start to structure within the show. Now, I think first and foremost, guys, it is super important that you suggest what it is that you're looking to see. That's what we care about the absolute most. So just a quick shout out to everybody that's with us right now. Brandon, what's happening? Kenzie, Ashwin, Peter from Vague, Brandon again, Godwin, Peter, Gawain, and Gilbert. Damien Duplessis, what's happening? Damien commenting before the show had even started. So big ups to you, Damien. There is a ton of things, guys, that we're going to be discussing in this live session, but first and foremost, I want to make sure everybody in the chat, and let me know exactly where you guys are from. Peter van Eyck is saying no audio. Kindly confirm. Peter, can you hear us? I can hear myself, so I'm hoping everything is good. Guys, first and foremost, for everybody in the chat, please tell me and make sure you guys are aware of the Cashback service. Please tell me that you are all earning money on your own trades. Is everybody aware of Cashback? Is everybody registered for Cashback? Is everybody making money on Cashback? Because if you're not, I don't know where you've been. So let's see, everybody's saying loud and clear. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Kudzai. Thank you, Kudzile. So beautiful. Thank you. Everybody's saying loud and clear. Guys, Cashback is here. What does that mean? It means that every time that you place a trade, Globex 360 is sharing part of that spread with you, meaning there's a spread, we pay a spread, they're giving you back money, dollars, real money for every single trade that you place. It is super simple. Go into your client's area, open up a new account, and you'll see under account options, there will be an option to select a cashback account. I'd like everybody that is here right now, just take a second really quickly, go into your Globex 360 clients area. You just go there by www.globex360.co.za, go into the clients area, open up yourself a cashback wallet, guys. Every time you trade, that's money going back into your pocket. You can redeposit that into a trading account. You can withdraw it. It's actual cash. It's basically the same as every time you go to the garage and you fill up your car with petrol, the garage gives you back 20 liters of fuel, all that amount in money that you can choose what you want to do with it. So please make sure you guys get involved and get a part of that. As a trader, first and foremost, that is one of my favorite things, right? I place my trades, I do my analysis, but every once in a while, I look at my wallet and I've got cash and money sitting in that wallet. Now, one of the coolest thing about that, US 30, right, currently gives out 50 cents per standard lot. But remember, Globex 360 standard lots is essentially a 0.01 everywhere else. Okay, so meaning if you are trading a one lot somewhere else, here at Globex, that would give you back $50 just for placing that trade, right? In terms of sharing that spread. So really, really, really cool stuff. Where else can you get 750 Rand for tantamount to a standard lot anywhere else? Nowhere else, right here, but only at Globex. Right, beautiful. So guys, we are going to do a bunch of things. We're going to have a ton of fun in terms of our analysis. So we're going to jump in. And really today is about your requests. You guys are going to pop in some requests. I know there were some requests in terms of some pairs that you guys asked for. And I said, please drop it in the show, drop it in the comments, drop it in the chat, because we're going to go through them. In addition to that, I'm also going to be announcing the G360 Circle of Excellence. Now, what does this mean? This is for funded clients who have an account of more than $1,000. And I'm going to put you into a trading room with me, which is a specialized group where we can discuss on a daily basis, hourly basis, what are we seeing? You're allowed to post your analysis. So it's an open group, meaning it's not just a broadcast channel where you cannot communicate with me or us. And this is where we're going to have some of our best traders who are trading multi-million Rand accounts, having insight into specific areas. And the reason we're doing this is many of you specialize in particular things, right? So I'll just grab an example really quickly. Let's have a look here. So as an example, Joseph, as an example, who's been with me for, Joseph, how long have you been with me? 1 or 2 years? As an example, loves US30. He's always messaging me 8, 9 p.m. in the evening saying, have a look at this break. What do you think about that? Look at the volatility. Now, what I want to do is take all of our skilled traders and put them into one area. So if you want to be a part of that, I'll be creating the groups this weekend. I'll put it into the channel how you get involved. But ultimately, you need a minimum of $1,000 in your live account. That tells me that you're a serious trader. We're not dealing with, $100 accounts. But then more than that, we will get your MT4 number verify and put you into the circle of excellence, right? And this is where we're going to be going very, very deep and revealing secrets about the markets. I'm going to be revealing some of those secrets here today. So if you are an indices trader, if you do enjoy gold, you do enjoy Forex, make sure you stick around because I'm going to be revealing some really, really powerful things in terms of strategy. Some swings that you might not even know exist that happen every single day like clockwork. So I think in order to kick things off and get things started, I'm just really going to read the comments. But so Peter from Vake is saying, come back now. Peter from Vake is still saying no audio. I think that's a delayed item there. Beautiful. Let me quickly have a look on this side. Cashback question mark. Damien, go and open up a cashback account. It's literally free money that Globex 360 is giving to every single one of you, right? In part and parcel of celebrating South Africa's longest established truly South African broker. We are turning 4 next year, so just a little bit of a pre-birthday celebration. Beautiful. I'm seeing everybody ask for dollar cashback. Yes. So at the moment there's MT4 standard, right? I don't know which micro accounts you're referring to. Leverage 1 to 100, 1 to 300. Okay. So leverage and all these other items will go deeper in on the academy side of things. We're launching the beginners academy this weekend. The intermediate academy, which requires you to have a live account, goes deep into leverage. It goes into lot sizing, it goes into risk management, so it goes very deep into all these other items, and this is not necessarily a teaching session. However, we will elaborate on certain things as we get into it. So I see requests for NASDAQ, I see requests for GBP JPY. Yes, thank you Peter for reminding me. Okay, so I think first things first, everybody's asking about US30, so let me show you some secrets. Now, I don't know if you guys are ready for this. Thank you, Joseph. GBP JPY, I've got it. So I don't know if you guys are ready for this. So to prove to me that you're ready to hear this, guys, this is an absolutely free broadcast. I want you to go ahead and do one thing for me. If you're not yet subscribed, smash that subscribe button. If you haven't yet liked the video, like, what are we doing here? I thought there's some love, right? Like that video. And more than that, guys, go ahead and hit the share button and send this off to 1 or 2 contacts that you know need to hear this type of information. I'm going to be sharing secrets and it won't be available live after the fact, meaning if you go ahead and share this broadcast, you can message me after the fact and you can get a copy of this recording that you can watch in your own time and go a little bit deeper. But go ahead and share, take a screenshot, and most of you will have my number, but I'll put it in the Telegram group. So those of you who have shared, we will give this live broadcast to you to replay and rewatch at a later stage. So you can pretty much lock away this information, this knowledge to yourself. But don't be greedy, share the love, share this broadcast. Okay. So let's jump in. So I'm going to be starting with US30 because I want to show you guys some really amazing things that I think a lot of people just absolutely miss and don't look out for when it comes to strategy. So part of what we're going to be doing in the Circle of Excellence is really breaking down some of these very normal swings and moves that happen every single day. Now, most traders just look at the charts and are completely oblivious to the fact that there are certain things that happen every single day that are within our control that we can see and take advantage of. The first thing that I'm going to share with you is I want you to have a look at what happens on US30 specifically every morning at 9 o'clock, right? Now remember, on your charts, we're looking at the 10 o'clock candle. So let me give you a quick share and show as to what it is that I'm saying. So if we go back and we're just looking at a 15-minute time frame, and remember, for everybody that will be part of the Circle of Excellence, you will start to get all of my templates after every single session. So once we've done an analysis session, we've drawn out price action, we've done Fibonacci, I will save that profile and upload it so you guys can download it and apply it to your MT4 desktop only. It doesn't apply to mobile. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about really quickly is every single morning at 9 o'clock, we get a shift in momentum on US30, right? So what I mean in terms of a shift in momentum, I mean that every single morning, we start to see a push in a certain direction. So let me get to 9 a.m. in the morning. Here we go. Okay. So example, we have this little market here. It's pretty much a little bit of a range, right? The second we get to 9 a.m. in that particular space in that market, right, which is around about that candle there, from that time, we generally get a change in structure or a potential breakout. So meaning if you have to map out any smaller structure leading up to 9 a.m., right? Remember, we're looking for that 10 a.m. candle. You start to get a shift in structure from that 10 o'clock move. Now, this is obviously not a very, very clean move because I want to show you guys real life examples that don't necessarily have the cleanest price action, because in most cases you will see a strategy, but it's a strategy that isn't necessarily in real market terms, something that you can apply and use every day for yourself. So have a look over here, right? This is the 12th of September. Everybody remembers the 12th of September. That was Monday where things got a little bit crazy. Tuesdays where pretty much the socks fell off of the markets. Everybody remembers, right? So having a look at that market structure, we've got a very clear channel here. Very, very clear channel. There's nothing too unclear about it, right? If we go and map it out, a little channel there. Okay. And at just before 9 o'clock, we start to see a little bit of a breakout. And on that 9 o'clock, we start to get that push up in momentum. Now, as an example, just to give you an example, that is 1,600 pips right there, right? So almost every single day, like clockwork, we start to get that reversal and that change in structure. So similar type of example here, we have a little bit of a bull market, a little bit of a bull push at 9 a.m. Hey, I don't think people are ready for this. And I've also got other ways of adding to that in terms of how you predict which direction that is, but I'm saving that for the circle of excellence. There's certain things that we look for to look for a change in volume and a change in momentum that are almost like leading indicators to tell us what is very likely to happen. And there's 3 sets of things we look for, but that's not for today. This is for those of you who want to put in the efforts and you want to go and find those secrets, but I'm giving you a head start in terms of what to look for. Right, so we see a break in market structure, a push to the top side. This is at 9 a.m. and this continues out throughout the whole day, right? So even if you took this trade at 9 a.m. and you held US30 the whole day, that would have resulted in 4,500 pips. Now, to give you an example, if you're making $1 per pip, it's not hard to do the maths. $4,500, that's 75,000 Rand. In one trade, in one move, and you get cash back on that trade. So come on, guys, let's stop sleeping on the markets here. Right, let's do another example and just go back another day. So we're just having a look at another day. So we have some market structure here. There we go. So we got some market structure here. This one didn't move as volatile, like we don't have as much momentum here. And the ones we want to generally watch out for, be a little bit cautious of, is going to be the Fridays. So let me quickly have a look. Is this 8th of September a Friday? Okay. So leading up closer to Fridays, I'm a little bit more cautious in general about all market structures, no matter which market structure it is. So we can see here at the 8 o'clock mark, we get that push. And then at 9 o'clock, we get a break of structure. 9 o'clock break of structure, a nice and easy 1,000 pips. Even if you were making 10 cents per pip, meaning your lot sizing positioned you at 10 cents per pip, you're still looking at $100, 1,700 Rand for free every single day, 5 days a week. We're talking about real money here, and you get a cashback. Like, it blows my mind that Globex is even able to do this for us as traders. For the longest of times, guys, every little advantage helps, right? Whether it's a cashback, whether it's a spread, whether it's any sort of advantage in the market. As a trader, what we're doing consistently is we're looking for things that add to our favor, that add to our P&L, that add to our risk to reward ratio, win-loss ratio. Every little thing counts, right? And you've got to consider all these items and slowly over time improve on your trading journey, right? One of I think it was actually Joseph asked me in the week, he said, what has been my biggest trading challenge over the past 5, 6, 7 years? The biggest challenge I had was keeping a journal, keeping myself accountable as to how I trade in terms of, am I exercising the right risk? What trades am I taking? How am I doing? And for the longest of times, traders couldn't do that. And this is the beautiful thing about why Globex has brought out Guardian Angel, this little dude right here. If you don't have it, I'll link that down below a little bit later, but I'll also pop it into the group. If you already have a Globex MT4, you copy this link, you run it, it'll automatically install. If you don't have a Globex MT4, all new Globex MT4s that you download from the site will automatically come paired with Guardian Angel. Right, and what does Guardian Angel do? It's like your personal assistant. It'll remind you you've taken too much risk. You've had 3 or 4 winning trades in a row. Guys, if you don't have Guardian Angel, it's like you literally have a PA for the markets that you're not even utilizing. So Joseph asked, what was my biggest challenge? My challenge was accountability. My challenge was, when you lose a trade, you walk away and you don't look back at those trades. You don't analyze them. You don't scrutinize where you went wrong, or you just get off the horse completely and you leave the markets for a week. How many of you have had a bad trade and you leave the markets for a week? We've all blown accounts. I try not to, but if a trader says they don't blow an account, they're lying to you. How many of you have blown an account and just said, I'm not trading for the next 2 weeks, right? It happens. The absolute secret in this game is never to get off that horse. Whether it takes you 3 accounts, whether it takes you 10, whether it takes you 100. Ideally, you don't want to be blowing 100 accounts in a row, but ultimately it's never to get off the horse. So Joseph's question to me in terms of what has been my biggest challenge over the last 7 years is learning to stay accountable to my trades and look back. And by the grace of God, we now have Guardian Angel provided to us by Globex. In addition to that, it's never getting off that horse. If you hit a bad day, no issues, take a break, but never quit, never give up. So there's my answer. Joseph, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's the answer. Okay, so US30 has a lot of secrets in store for us and a lot of opportunities to be able to trade. Example here again, we have a rising market structure. 10 o'clock comes, slight push down, but then we're looking for a break. And this is the key. We're not looking for the direction that the market is pushing at 9 o'clock, right? We're looking at the 10 o'clock candle, but when I say 10 o'clock, I'm referring to 9 a.m. We're not looking for the push at 9 a.m. We're looking for a break at 9 a.m. Okay. Pamela's saying, loving Guardian Angel. Aslam, what's happening, my brother? Joseph, excellent audio. At 9 a.m. Eastern time. That'll be 9 a.m. GMT +2 for anybody that's asking. And I will be looking at GBP/JPY. Absolutely. I just want to reveal a couple secrets because, I speak to a lot of people who are in the markets who aren't excited, who aren't, absolutely drooling to get in the markets. And that's how I am every day, regardless of what else I have going on, meetings, broadcasts, recordings, whatever the case may be. I cannot wait to get alone time to get into the markets and look for these things. And that's what's going to be this. That's essentially the prime purpose of the Circle of Excellence, is getting everybody involved and making sure that we can share that passion, that joy, and just the pure excitement for what the markets have to offer us. Okay, so really quick one. I'll do one more example, and I'm literally going day by day. I'm not cherry picking, meaning I'm not selecting the ones that best suit my theory here. I'm literally telling you, day by day what's busy happening. Same example here. We have in the morning, we have a little bit of a bull market move, a little bear market move here. Just at the start of 10 o'clock, we have a slight push up and then we have a move. So we get the breakout to the top side, and that move comes in at 1,300, 1,400 pips top side. Okay, so beautiful. So let me just read the comments. Melanie is saying, struggling with locking profits, right? Guys, locking in profits comes down to risk management, right? And it's going to be 2 things. When you take a trade, are you just leaving that trade to be? A, are you using, and then B, are you using a stop loss? And C, are you using a trailing stop? Now, the biggest issue I've found with traders over the past couple of years, and we've traveled the world, we've trained probably tens of thousands of people over the years, is it's not that stop losses are incorrect, it's the placement. And so what people do is they place a stop loss, it gets smacked, and then they just don't want to trade with it anymore. The reality is placing a stop loss, just as much as placing a take profit, is an art. A lot of traders will allow a trade to run without any sort of end goal. If you don't have a destination, if you don't have a defined area at which you are expecting to take profit, or a defined area where a stop loss should be, then you don't have any risk management, right? And risk management is what's going to keep you in this game, allow you to look back and look at your risk reward ratios. If you don't have risk management, you don't have a risk reward ratio, you don't have a trading plan to say. And that's what's really going to be powerful about the Intermediate Academy, is we're going to teach you a ton about risk management, and this is going to be all free, right? But again, provided you are a client of Globex 360, we're going to take you through all of this. So it's definitely something to get massively excited about. Laura Lee Block, it is $1,000, right? $100. We can't be giving away secrets for 1,000 Rand. Shamim says, my stop loss attracts price to it, right? Well, guys, you know, it's far better to be taken out on a stop loss than not, you know, to just linger. So I don't know how many of you have had this, right? Where you placed a trade and forget to maybe put a stop loss, whatever the case may be, and you hang in days for a negative, right? And you're topping up your accounts and you're doing all these other things. This can happen. And I've had times where I've recovered through adding funds to my accounts and increasing my margin. But if you're going to be wrong, let's get wrong quickly, right? If you're going to be wrong, take a hit quickly and look for the next opportunity, as opposed to lingering on one trade, right? In addition to that, every time you place a trade, you get a cashback. So for me, it's almost like, if I'm going to be wrong, let me be wrong right now. I don't want to be wrong over 6 hours. Nobody wants to be wrong over 6 hours. Yeah. So Assam says, I like to put more entries at my stop losses. What's your take on it? So absolutely. Let's say you're in a buy position. Okay. So let's say we're in a buy position. Let's say we're on, let's deal with this really quickly. Okay. Let's just quickly understand what's happening here. Okay, so we have a little bit of a market structure here. We have a little bit of a market structure available to us. I think the actual market structure looks like that. Even though we do have support here, I don't think that support's valid. I do think this market is busy ranging. So we want to look for some sort of breakout top side or downside. So let's say we look for a short trade. Let's say markets push below previous support and we want to place a sell. If your stop loss is in profit and you move your stop loss past your entry points, hack on those trades, right? Because the reality is that when your stop loss is in profit, your trade is you technically risk free. So you can recycle that risk. You can take the 2, 3, 5, 10%, whatever your risk tolerance is, you can take that 2, 3, 5 or 10% and add it back into that trade. You really got a trade secured. So my goal always is essentially to move stop loss as quickly into profit. However, do not be greedy, right? So the second it moves into profit, you move your stop loss into profit, and then it just closes you out. You had a beautiful entry. Your entry was great. And most times it'll just be that little kiss. It'll come down and it'll continue out. So I don't know how many of you have had that, but that has happened to me a lot, especially when I'm not paying attention or I'm being a little bit greedy. It'll come and kiss my stop loss and say goodbye, and then continue in the same trajectory direction that I'd originally predicted or had looked at. All right, I'm speaking a little bit too much. Let's get back into where the requests are currently sitting. So USA 30, I will be essentially taking this 9 a.m. strategy and breaking it up even more. So essentially what I would like to do starting next week, right? If you are part of the Circle of Excellence, meaning you have $1,000 account or more, or you one of my old master's students, then essentially I'm going to be going live at 9 a.m. every single day next week. Right? It's going to be a quick session, 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. But essentially, I'm going to teach how to predict certain market moves, especially 9 a.m. moves, and this will look at NASDAQ, we'll look at German 30. There's also massive movements and opportunity on gold at between 8 and 9 o'clock. So if you have a $1,000 account, I'll set you up in the circle of excellence. We will be trading this live, and I'll be teaching you more things to essentially spot out and deal with. So don't worry too much on indices. If you obviously don't have a Globex account and you're just here because, is anybody here who doesn't have a Globex account? Just put your hand up so we can just see who the monitoring spirits are. I don't think anybody's going to put their hand up, but if you don't have a Globex account, guys, I don't know what you're doing. As I'm saying, it's called a chameleon tongue. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. Is nobody brave enough to put up their hand? I know there's somebody here who doesn't have a Globex account. There's someone suspicious in this chat. Who is it? I think it's Laura. Laura Lee? Cabello, you don't have? Yo. We've got monitoring spirits in this group. What's going on? Laura, I don't believe. Oh, you see, even that little smiley face, it's like, I do. But no, when I say live accounts, I mean funded. I'm not talking about you just open an account like now, 10 seconds ago. Okay, anyways, guys, if I speak too much in these live sessions, it's just because I love doing this and I love spending time with you guys, hearing out your questions, listening, going, you see, not funded though. I knew. I see things. Beautiful. So Joseph's saying, can we include Laura? If I see you in the chat again, you don't have a funded account, we're gonna have to have a discussion. All right. This is not yeah. Anyway. A lot of people have asked also for gold. I will take note of GBP, JPY. We will jump into that as well. But let's have a look at gold and what gold's busy doing. Obviously, gold's pushing through that floor of what we obviously had already been studying. I've been playing around with gold a little bit, and I found a few things that are fairly interesting that I think that you guys will find quite interesting. So first things first, right? And maybe I'm just start with this before I get into this analysis, right? First things first. If you understand how big money moves, right, and this is why markets are, I won't say becoming slightly more difficult to trade, but certainly you've got to place yourself into the mind of big money, right? If you're looking at trading daily, weekly, if you're looking at swing trading, you can't position yourself looking at a 1 minute chart and think you're going to hold a swing trade or 5 or 1 hour, right? You need to understand how big money works. Big money sees the same things we see. Big money knows Fibonacci. Big money knows resistance support. Big money knows supply and demand zones. So what big money does is they do what's called liquidity grabs, right? So meaning at main areas where we predict there's a good area of support, a good amount of resistance, big money will essentially go ahead and go and take out those trades, right? And it's just called a liquidity grab. They're just grabbing out trades. If it's a push to the downside, it's referred to as a bear trap. So if you ever hear me talking about a bear trap, that's what I'm referring to. And if it's a quick push to the top side and then a pullback, that's a bull trap. So you need to think how big money thinks, how big banks, how investment institutions think, and that's how they think. So oftentimes when something is sitting at support, specifically a very obvious support, right? Something that we think should just be extremely obvious and blatant, I'm always a little bit cautious. And we're going to look at oil as well. We're going to jump into that. I know I've had quite a few questions about oil. Aslam loves oil. If you see what he trades on oil, your jaw will sort of fall off. But we'll dive into oil too. And there's a perfect example of what happened on oil in the last week, right? There was that liquidity grab. I spoke about it in the morning broadcast. We pushed through the 61.8. I didn't think it was a legitimate move, and it just pulled straight back up and it's taken off, right? So you need to understand those moves and think not like a trader, but think like a big bank. Think like an institutional investor. With that being said, a lot said at the same time. If we have a look at where gold is currently sitting, and let's just take a breather, right? Let's just pull back quickly. This is a daily time frame, all right? Understanding that we are sitting on that massive support level, which is guys, the support is a multi-year support, meaning we've been at this price, we've tested this price properly for over 2 years, right? The last time this touch or this breach happened was in April of 2020. So this is extremely obvious. It's strong. It's right there. Now, from a trading perspective, we also pulled back to the 61.8, right? We've also pulled back to the 61.8. So let me just zoom in for those of you. I think let me go to a weekly. Let me do it like this. I think that's better for you guys all to see. If you ever can't see the screen, just remind me. I've got massive screens in front of my face. So for me, this thing is like bigger than my body. But if you're watching on a mobile device, I apologize. I do sometimes forget about that. In any event, massive support. Fibonacci 61.8. There's a lot going for this from a market aspect to start looking for buys. Okay, so traders will see a support level, they'll jump into a buy, they'll be taken out of that trade, they'll go into a sell, they'll be taken out of that trade too, and then markets will move in the trajectory that they were expected to go through. In the same sense, we also need to understand that when we look at these retracement levels, right, that markets can happily go for 78.6 or 88.2, and this bull move is still valid, right? How can I say that? How can I say the bull move is still valid? What I mean is, markets are made of impulses and corrections, right? You have an impulse and you correct to a known Fibonacci level, right? That's how the markets move. There's no market in the world that just moves in one way, the one trajectory. So in a bull market, provided the pullback or the correction or the recession is not further than 88.2, right? Provided the pullback doesn't exceed the last impulse, meaning we don't make a lower low, that bull market is still at play. So for all intents and purposes, the gold is still in a buy market, structure. We're simply in that corrective state. So big money is looking for long. Big money, gold is a safe haven. With everything that's happening in the world, long term, there's good trades available for us on gold. However, we're thinking like scalpers, we're thinking like day traders. So we're trying to deal with these smaller little moves, and there's nothing wrong with that. I enjoy scalping. Scalping is probably one of my favorite types of trading, and I do that because scalping is exhilarating. You can see a minute time frame, you can buy a trade. You guys have seen how we trade New York Stock Exchange. We smash the New York Stock Exchange just by looking at scalps. We're breaking market structure, so we buy it. Very simple stuff. Nothing, no rocket science involved. Nothing wrong with scalping. That's all I wanted to say there. But when we look at long-term trading, nobody in this group, I think, is holding a gold long, right? A calculated gold long, right? And that's what we need to start looking at and essentially start changing from a mindset perspective, is that as soon as you are trading on these smaller time frames and you're only ever scalping, that's never going to be a good thing. So getting back to analysis on gold, right? We have a really good support. We've dived deep into that support. We have broken past it. So what I'm looking for now is I'm looking for some sort of recovery back over support before I consider buy, and have a look at our price action from this morning, how it stayed valid, right? I said this morning that should we break that market structure, I would start looking for long positions, and look what happened. Literally broke down. I think we were around about here this morning, smacked resistance, and then broke back down. So this is causing a lot of traders to get in short. I'm part of a bigger trading community of, bigger traders who, we talk about crazy things, but ultimately everybody has a sell bias on gold, and I don't understand why. The reality is, if you look at what's happening in the world, you look at what's happening with the dollar cannot keep gaining strength forever. The dollar is in proper trouble. If you look at gold is a safe haven asset. So when times are uncertain, what do people do? They buy gold, right? Some of the wealthiest people I know don't even keep money in the banks. They keep gold, silver, or diamonds, physical gold, silver, and diamonds, because in times of uncertainty, it will always hold value. So you got to take into consideration what asset you're trading, what intrinsic values does it have, right? Consider something like NASDAQ. What is its intrinsic values? It's tech, right? Big tech has taken over as some of the most valuable companies in the world. Is it possible for all big tech to fail simultaneously? No. Is it a pretty good bet? Yes. Take US 30, take German 30. So you got to look at what makes up that asset and what values sit behind it. In this particular case, if the dollar falls stock markets indices tend to rise. That correlation also sits with gold, right? If the dollar falls in value, gold becomes more expensive per gram, and that's what we look for. So in terms of gold, I'm looking very, very keenly, right, at this market structure here. If you want to copy me on this, I'm essentially looking at a 30-minute time frame. You're going to get a bit more detail on a 15-minute time frame. And all we're doing and we're waiting for is not only a break above resistance, diagonal resistance, we're waiting for a break above known support, right? So for me, and this is how I would deal with it, is I would like gold to reach $1,697 per ounce. Once it breaks that, it's done the break, but it needs to hold its ground for a couple days. And I think that timing is going to really work out with when the Federal Reserve on the 20th is essentially announcing what they're going to do to fix this rampant interest rate inflation that I've obviously been speaking about over the past couple days. So this might coincide with that. However, if gold continues to fall, I've got no business in shorting gold right now unless we start to get some sort of valid push down and then retest. That retest holds true below that 61.8, because that's where we are. We're sitting on the golden ratio, right? If a 61.8 fails, is there room to trade it? Of course, right? If we fail to break above a 61.8, the next level, the next price point for gold is $1,587 per ounce, right? That's a massive move. Is that tradable? Of course it's tradable, but I wouldn't trade it until price makes this decision, because a push down here, a quick little spike, that's a liquidity grab, right? I want the spike to happen, I want the spike to come back, and then I want to see confirmation we're holding down below that level. Now, a lot of people ask me and say, well, Dane, what if you miss a trade? Like, what if you just miss the trade? What if you don't get the trade? My answer to them is, guys, do you know how many assets are available to trade? Every single one of these assets behind me have an opportunity, whether it be gold, whether it be crypto, whether it be stocks. And all I'm simply doing is looking for the best potential opportunity that matches my trading profile, my strategy, right? Which is more than just buying or selling. It's about a mindset, where you are in the day. Are you relaxed? Are you stressed? What's your type of risk? Can you afford to take the trade? What's the margin requirements? So it goes into a little bit more than just willy-nilly. But the reality is that there are so many instruments to trade and so many opportunities. I'm not saying trade everything. I'm not saying, don't trade anything, but learn to grab 5 or 6 instruments, and don't always grab the things everybody's trading, because they're seeing the same things and 9 times out of 10, they're wrong, right? So go and grab something new, to dive into an exotic currency. Okay, not an exotic currency pair. The spreads there are horrible, regardless of wherever you look. But go and grab something new, learn it, study it, spend some time with it, spend hours and hours just looking at the charts. You don't even have to place a trade, but diversify yourself, get into something new. Go and Google coffee and figure out what moves the price of coffee. Who are the biggest producers of coffee? What is their yield this year? Does coffee look like there's going to be a greater supply or lower supply? It will all help in your decision-making process. But there are so many things to trade. I don't care about missing an opportunity, because there are thousands of opportunities every hour. Okay, Dan, please explain this question. Alray saying, when you check, when analyzing gold, do I check the correlators of gold? So no, the reality is correlations of gold used to always be other indices or other commodity classes, right? And obviously the direct correlation is at the dollar. That used to apply for those of you who've been trading for a couple of years, 3-4 years ago. That correlation used to be like this, right? If gold rises, dollar falls, and vice versa. So, that correlation used to be intact. Other commodity correlations, such as silver, used to be intact, but those correlations are broken because there's a lot more factors than just one rising and one falling. Because you may have an instance where gold is gaining in value and the dollar is also gaining in value, right? Meaning both are doing well. Which one is doing better, as an example, right? So if gold is doing a little bit better than the dollar, it will move the XAUSD charts. So I don't care much for correlation. I do look at the dollar index just to look generally where the dollar is sitting. And that's more about, is the dollar in a healthy position, yes or no? Is the dollar vulnerable, yes or no? Because based on what we saw on Tuesday's crash, when the dollar's uncertain, markets are stalled. Look at gold. I mean, gold been sitting in this zone, fluctuating between $10 an ounce of gold for the last week, right? Just because of that uncertainty. So to answer the question, I don't know if that explains what the question was. Yeah, I hope it did. Laura C. Okay, beautiful. So in terms of gold, what is my thinking, or am I just talking rubbish? So in terms of gold, I definitely think, look at the 15-minute chart, map out the structure, a break above structure. You might want to be an early bird. You can grab that if you see a break happen. For me to be able to take this trade and walk away and go gym, or walk away and go to a meeting to have peace of mind, I'd wait for a breakout and a successful retest, hold above support, and then take off. That's the shortened answer. A move down to the downside, exactly the same rule, just the opposite. If it pushes through or pushes further down, I'm waiting for a retest, a successful hold below the 61.8, and then a continued move. Now, I am going to be fairly cautious with my own personal trades, just leading up to the Fed, because there's a lot of speculation about what could happen. And I'm really, really of the opinion we could see something big happen from the Fed. I think, I call him Papa Powell, but Jerome Powell obviously represents, federal policies and, changes that affect the world. I think he's backed into a call on this one. I've seen him be a lot more aggressive for a lot less. I've seen him be a lot more hawkish for a lot less of a reason. So if we start to get, weak employment data or unemployment data or any added catalyst to this particular issue of inflation, I think we could see a 1%, 100 basis point hike on the base interest rate next week. And I don't know what that would do to the markets, if I'm honest, right? We would need to look at where the markets are at that point in time. And I wouldn't even make a prediction on where markets would go should an event like that happen. In these cases, I think we're also learning that it's good to be aware of the fact that there's fundamental data happening, right? But I think it's also good to wait for the price action to tell us exactly what is going to happen. Because I think in a lot of cases, I saw online, there was, on the Tuesday crash, everybody was sending out signals for, buy US30 or whatever the case may be. The reality is nobody can predict the market. We can start to add certain things into our equation to say there's a probability of this, but I think to enter things prematurely is foolish, right? I think wait for the market to do what it has to do and then see, is that move sustained, and then ride that breakout, ride that move in the markets. And that's how I deal with something big like that. So I hope that answers that particular question. Let me just see here. I'm on pause on my side. Oh, okay. I did see that. I saw I went on pause for probably about 2 seconds. So we are on a super low latency live stream, which means that between the time that I speak and the time you see me is plus minus about 1.6 seconds, which is absolutely next level. Okay, let's move into oil, because I'm super excited about oil and I want to spend a little bit more time diving into this and really unpacking what makes oil tick. And when I speak about oil, I'm referring to Brent. Okay. Cool. Just another update, guys. If you are having your charts disconnect, right? If you're using MT4 and you're hearing it disconnect, reconnect, disconnect, reconnect, we are busy addressing that. And it seems like at this point in time, it's servers that are just busy looking for the lowest latency and reconnecting servers. So if you hear that ding, 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 whatever, disconnect, reconnect, that's what it is. And we are currently busy fixing that, just to rather give advice to say manually lock on to this or that server. So if you see that issue, you can pretty much, if you look here in the bottom right hand corner where my mouse is, if you click on that, you're going to see you have a bunch of different server options. At the moment, what the issue seems to be is that we are reconnecting amongst different servers looking for the lowest latency. And that's what that looks like when you hear the disconnect, reconnect. So the theory there is we're going to just select one server and leave it there. But I will update you guys based on that a little bit later. So quickly just looking at oil. Right, you can see we have some pretty good market structure, and I don't really want to pay too much attention to all of it, but I think it's worthwhile to just simply isolate. If we just look at a daily time frame, I'm really looking at that level over there. So I'm really looking at that diagonal resistance level, and essentially so I see a comment there, always is saying, is it safe to buy gold now? Listen, I'm not a financial advisor. You can do whatever it is you want. If you weren't listening to what I said, you can buy it, you can sell it, you can buy and sell it at the same time. You're more than welcome to do. First way being, you know, is this a little bit of a bull market? Ooh. Okay, so we're pushing into the limits of the stream, I think, right? And I apologize if I lost you guys there. Looking at Brent, we can see this is a bull market. How? Just looking at the momentum in this market to the top side. Ooh, we might be reaching the limit on the stream.